the first in a series of webinars that we will be organizing from now until the 22nd of June. So I hope all of you will attend the other episode in this series. During this first webinar, we will discuss the phenomena of false information in the realm of climate change and the negative effects this may cause. Allow me to invite ADGCI, Dr. Moise Chakchuk, who is here with us, to give his opening remarks. Dr. Chakchuk is the UNESCO's Assistant Director General for Communication and Information. Since May 2018, he is responsible for the organization's program on fostering freedom of expression and building inclusive knowledge societies. Dr. Chakchuk, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Banu. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Good morning, everyone, for some people who are still in the US and from the West. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to open this online discussion on climate change disinformation. And I would like to thank our panelists for participating in this important and topical discussion, as well as the IPS Academy and Citizens Platform for joining forces with UNESCO to organize this webinar series. We convene today in exceptional times, as the COVID-19 pandemic has transformed the ways that we live, work, and interact with one another. While the consequences of the crisis itself have been dramatic, the pandemic has been further compounded by an infodemic. The spread of misinformation and disinformation about the virus not only represents a major threat in terms of health and safety, but it also complicates the responses developed by different actors to mitigate the crisis. In that sense, the challenge of the infodemic echoes that of disinformation about climate change, the theme of today's event. From recent swarms and the locusts defavoring crops in Africa, to bushfires in Australia and cyclones in Asia, the devastating effects of climate change on our lives are more visible than ever in all regions of the world. And yet, false information about climate change persists, downplaying the severity of this phenomenon and sometimes preventing access to accurate information, with potentially devastating effects. It risks driving politicization and polarization at a moment when the world needs unity and mutual support more than ever. To rise to the challenge of this and misinformation, we need independent quality journalism, which can provide reliable information. Media has an essential role to play to help citizens understand complex issues such as climate change, and it has the difficult but important task of bringing verified and reliable information from a multitude of disciplines working on climate change issues to its audience. Simultaneously, it needs to present its coverage through stories that demonstrates both the urgency of the situation, but also inspire change and hope through showcasing possible solutions. Access to scientific information is equally important to help understand and explain these issues and to find effective solutions to address them. We must also strengthen citizens' skills to identify incorrect information and prevent its proliferation online and offline. And this includes, of course, rumors. Currently, we must address both the sources and the recipients of false information. The sources of information should be free of bias and falsehoods through transparency norms, regulation, and technological solutions, and promote the production and dissemination of verified information and reliable sources. On the other hand, we have to work with the recipients of information and enhance their capacities to isolate truth from fiction and provide them with fact-checking services and skills. To this end, media and information literacy is a crucial tool for building the necessary digital and critical capacities. It is in this perspective that UNESCO's response to the this challenge lies. Following a holistic approach, our organization is committed to providing societies with the tools necessary to raise awareness among all and to strengthen our society's resilience in the face of disinformation. This has been our approach to respond to the infodemic around the COVID-19, from which we learned a lot, as it has further highlighted the role of accurate information in informing effective policy responses and encouraging the public to take the right action in times of crisis. Be they health crises or environmental ones, it's the same. In recognition of this, the importance of these issues of climate change and false information and the intersection between them, UNESCO has initiated several projects, including journalism handbooks that educate media professionals, also published the Handbook of Journalism, Fake News and Disinformation, which provides training for journalists and other stakeholders on addressing false information. To empower citizens, and in particular youth, our MilClicks initiative uses social media to raise awareness about media and information literacy, and to debunk false information, including about climate change. In our response, we also strive to promote interdisciplinarity and multi-stakeholder exchanges on how to address these issues by involving actors in the spheres of education, science, culture, and information, as they are all impacted by the effects of climate change, but also part of the solution. And here I want to recommend my colleague, Shamila, who will join us for this intervention, initial webinar. And this is we are proud to work together in this topic. To conclude, I would like to underline that while climate change is not a new phenomenon, its effects are happening now, impacting our present and future generations. We must resume our fight against climate change, even as we combat COVID-19, and in this fight, false information is a key battle that we must win. We need to identify sustainable solutions that can comprehensively tackle both sides of false information. This requires a collaborative approach, bringing together scientists, journalists, and citizens to join forces against false information on climate change. In this endeavor, we can also count on the potential of innovation and new technologies, such as artificial intelligence, which have proven to be key in the response to the current pandemic. However, this is not an easy task. A more in-depth initiatives gathering the efforts of all present is necessary. I hope that this series of webinars will serve to shed some light on strategies that we may employ, forge new alliances between interested stakeholders, and pave the way forward, a long-term initiative to address false information about climate change.